I believe the best way to stay motivated while learning a new programming language is by looking at real-life examples. So we're going to be using the knowledge we've gained in the first 3 videos of this series to create a calculator. Now, if we're looking at a calculator in real life, it's pretty important that we have user inputs. I mean, how useless would a calculator be if we didn't allow the user to pick which numbers they wanted entered to, say, add them together, right? I mean, it'd be a pretty bad calculator. No one would want to buy it, and those people who bought it would want a refund. And if we weren't prepared to offer refunds, we would have to flee the country. We'd go to Mexico. We'd be hiding out in Mexico. The police would catch us, throw us in a Mexican jail cell, and we would never see our families again. All of that because we don't have user input on our calculators. Fortunate for us, we learned how to make user inputs in Java in the last video, so we're going to go ahead and do that right now. So I already have the class and the main method already written out over here, and we know that we need to go ahead and import the Java scanner, which is going to be written before your class if we want to have user input. So we write import java.util.scanner, and put a semicolon at the end here. This is going to allow us to use the Java scanner to have user inputs, and we need to use this to create a scanner variable to start off. So go here into the main method. I'm going to write scanner. Then you write the name of whatever you want to call the variable. That's going to be the scanner variable. It can be whatever you want. In the last video, I called it X. In this video, I'm just going to call it scan, and I'll call that from now on in this series to stay consistent. I'm going to write the equal sign. I'm going to go ahead and write new scanner. And in brackets here, I'm going to write system.in. And this is going to allow you to take inputs from your system, and it's going to allow you to do that by using the scanner variable, which is scan. Simple enough. Now what we want to do is we need to make 3 variables, right? Say we're making this calculator, right? And this calculator is going to take variable 1 and variable 2. It's going to add the 2 values associated with those together, and it's going to make a 3rd value. Now, the reason we need 3 variables is because that 3rd value, which is the sum of those 2 variables, if we're making an addition calculator, is going to need to be stored somewhere. We know that these variables are storage spaces, right? They're temporary storage spaces where we're going to be allocating some space on our memory for these variables. Now, we might not know what the variable values are going to be just yet, but they will need to have a space to stay. Eventually, we can't just go ahead and bring them into a room with no vacancy. That's going to be rude for whoever's sleeping there already and kind of creepy, and they'll probably end up in prison, that Mexican prison. That's where those variables are going to be for being creepy. So we need to go ahead and create those 3 variables right now, those 3 parking spaces or these 3 rooms. And we're going to use integer data. So we're going to use the keyword int. I'm going to go ahead and write value 1. The next I'm going to go write value 2. So those are going to be the 2 variables where I put the first 2 numbers that I want to enter in my calculator. Then both of these are going to be added together. So the last one is going to be integer sum. Simple enough. So we'll enter number value 1, we'll enter number value 2, and then we'll enter the sum, and that will be the 3 variables for our calculator. Now, we're going to have to go and prompt our user, right? Because it'd be kind of rude if we just assume our user knows they need to enter 2 values that are going to be added together, right? We need to give them a message to let them know what this program does. And we'll just simply use outputs to do this, right? It's polite. So go and use system.out.println, and we know that's what we use when we want to print something out on screen. We'll put the brackets here, and inside the brackets, we'll put some quotation marks for the message, and I'm going to write, welcome. Please enter your first number. Simple enough. We'll leave that right there and put a semicolon at the end. So it's going to give them a message telling them we need you to enter your first number. You can obviously put more details if you want, but we don't need to do this for this video. And now we're going to go down to the next line, and you're going to write the name of the variable, the first one, that's going to be storing your first value, so value 1. Now you don't need to go ahead and write int at the beginning of this because your program knows that this is an integer, right? You've already declared value 1 to be an integer, so you don't need to go ahead and write that again. It's a pretty smart program. So we have value 1 written over there, and we're going to put the equal sign. I'm going to assign this the scan variable. So you're going to write scan, then you're going to put dot separator, and now you're going to write next integer, and you're going to put the not quotation marks, the brackets after that, and you're going to end the line just like that. So this means you want to use the scanner, which means you're going to want to use a system input right over there, and it's going to say that you're going to wait. You cannot go on to the next step until you enter a integer. The reason we have these brackets here is because you'll obviously need to pass something through those brackets. In this case, we need to make sure that what we're passing through is actually an integer so we can move on to the next item. So we have all this here. This will be value 1 will be taking an input. Now you'll have value 1, whatever you input is going to be stored right over here in your value 1 integer. We're going to have to go ahead and do this for value 2 now. So go into the next line, you write system out println, and you can say, thanks. Now please enter your second number. Do the exact same thing. And then we have to go do the same thing with value 2. So you can write value 2 equals scan.nextInt. Just like that for next integer. And now you have all your information in your system. Well, now we need to add them together. And simple enough, we just need to go ahead and write value 1 plus value 2 is equal to sum. Simple enough, right? Actually, we should probably do it the other way around. It's rude if I do it this way. Don't do it this way. Do it this way instead. There you go. Okay, that's the way you should do it. There you go. So now we see the error disappears. Don't do it the other way. Make sure you always write it like in this fashion. So we have sum is equal to value 1 plus value 2. So we're going to add these two together, and now that's going to be stored in sum. It's going to be stored up here in the memory we've allocated for an integer value in the variable sum. Now we need to print that out on screen, right? Because we want our calculator to be able to print our values out on screen. So we can go ahead and make a message right over here. And I'm going to go ahead and write print instead of print line because I want this to be on the same line. I'm going to write your sum is right there. Leave a space right there. And I'm going to go ahead on the next line and write, and I'm just going to write the variable sum. So this means it's going to say your sum is, and it's going to give me sum. That will be our calculator. So we should go ahead and test this out. Go up here and press build or build and run. And you can see the console available right here. It says, welcome, please enter your first number. Okay, well, my first number, which has to be an integer, is going to be 3. And it says, thanks. Now, please enter your second number. Okay, my second number will be 500. And I enter that, and it says, your sum is 503. That's pretty cool, right? So that's how we build a calculator using Java. If you have any questions about building a calculator or about user inputs or outputs, anything we've learned so far in this series, please leave it in the comments below, and I will answer you as soon as possible. Hope you guys enjoy the next video in this series.